in, come on in.
I got my melody, my frequency, and higher vibrations. Nothing could limit me, cause good energy is my intentions. And whenever the sunrise in the morning, it's a proper meditation. And that's how we do every single day, man. There's no need doctor for medication. Nature and the recommendation for manifestation. Frequency tuned to the channel of the right station. I have a vision in my mission, so we make all my decisions with precision. I don't need 5G, I'm in 5D. Oh, I don't need 5G, I'm in 5D. I don't need 5G, I'm in 5D. I don't need 5G, I'm in 5D.
I like that.
Dimensions. Everything's so good inside.
I see you, Jessica. Hey.
It feels like heaven. And you know it's on
I like him.
I don't need 5D, I'm in 5D. I don't need 5G, I'm in 5.
Come on in.
5G, I'm in 5D.
Divine Femin9 Takeover.
Original kind of 5D. I don't need 5G, I'm in 5D. I don't need 5G, I'm in 5D. Oh, yeah, listen. I don't need 5G, I'm in 5D. Oh, and I don't need 5G, I'm in 5G. Multi-dimensional.
Hey. Hey. Well, hey, how are y'all doing this evening? This is the Plump Queen podcast revamp. And I appreciate y'all giving us your time and your energy. I have my sister, Akeelah Speaks. Say hello.
Hey, hello, people. Love and light, peace and greetings.
Yes. So like I said, guys, I told you I was going to have my girl on here. You know, we were talking about body image and narcissism and all of that. But all of that stems from this sister right here. And we're going to give her, you know, her situation in there and how she feels about this. And we're going to get this Divine Femin9 popping. How about it? All right. I appreciate y'all giving your time and energy. I am going to be doing this hosting thing. So y'all excuse me. Y'all gonna see me doing this and that. I'm finagling some stuff. But sister, introduce yourself, tell the world who you are, and let's get started.
Okay, well, greetings, everyone. I'm Akeelah. Akeelah Speaks. I'm a mother of 4, first and foremost, melanated, as you can see. And what I bring to the table, Divine Feminine, this energy. I'm all about energy. My chakras, doing my chakra work. I was motivated about reaching out because of an interview with Plump Queen and Divine Chakra, which was, you know, right along the lines of things that I'm into. So I bring light, wisdom, knowledge. I'm about enlightening our people. And people, women especially, another thing that attracted me, like I said, Divine Feminine. So that's what I want to get into. And we talk about body image, as she mentioned. Thank you, Queen, for that introduction. Sorry I couldn't make it, you know, technical difficulties, but we're here, technically live. Being a NARC survivor is something that I speak also on the behalf of, being that it's been my experience, and I'm finding it to become more prevalent, and more sisters around, you know, so we'll get into that as the host leads us into it. I believe we were going to start off with body images. Is that correct, Queen?
Oh, this
Or
is your show, Dollface.
wherever we want to flow.
Wherever you want to start, wherever
we want to flow. So
yes.
let's start there, because that's something we bonded on first and foremost that we were talking about. As you can see, we have different, you know, body images, physiques, both melanated, but more I'm on the lighter side. Plumps is on the heavier side.
I'm on the plump side.
On the plump side. So we realized that I think I was explaining to you that I had my own issues, and she was shocked. Like, really? I wouldn't think that. And it was like, yeah, I always wanted to be thicker. So a lot of times we look at women and you think, okay, she's thin, you know, I want to be like her, or she has it. And no, we have our own issues. We don't like, for instance, if I can't wear tights, you know, thick girls could wear tights. And I'm like, man, I want to wear what she's wearing. I want to walk out with just some tights and a t-shirt. And I'm not that comfortable in my skin, you know, to do that. The thin girls that do it are usually like models. They're actually on the runway and they have that confidence because they're in that model arena. Without being in that model arena, another skinny girl is just feeling skinny and less than, not appreciated. You know, the men don't look towards us either, especially growing up. And it's not till you mature and really start to love yourself for who you are. I had to learn to love my skinny and my thinness. And then you have kids and then it battles you all over again. Now you're like, man, I had a six pack. That was my go-to thing. I might not have had the, you know, the Coca-Cola bottle shape, but my six pack was what I had. And of course, after kids, we lose that six pack. So a lot of women couldn't tell because they're like, what are you complaining about? You don't have a gut. Like I didn't have a gut, but I didn't have my six pack. I could not wear my belly, my cutoff shirts, my midriffs. That was no more. So then it's like you go through this roller coaster up and down with your body image. And, you know, 1 minute you're like, yeah, I'm loving it. Something happens and no, I don't like it anymore. You know, these changes. So we realize that, you know, you might think you want that, but I'm like, no, I want to be thick. I want your thighs. I want my thighs to rub, you know. It sounds funny, but you know, when I would go to the doctor when I'm pregnant, I'm the opposite. I go in going, come on, 5 pounds. Tell me I made 5 pounds. And the people in the doctor's office, yeah, they always were laughing at me because they're like, this one is coming in ready for gaining some weight, you know. And the other women are mad that they're gaining weight, but for me, I'm excited. And I'm looking for, what is the other thing think people have problems with? Oh, cellulite. I'm excited for cellulite. If I see some on my thigh, like, I got a dimple. I got cellulite.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, again, like I was saying the other day, that is the complete opposite over here. We talking about just giving, I'm that big girl when skinny girls be like, oh, y'all be pulling on your skin, talk about see this fat. And I just be like, lifting up my shirt, like, I don't even have to pull this. It's just there. So it's just interesting. You talk about leggings, like certain bigger. I know you talk about being thick, but being too big doesn't make the leggings look good either. You know what I'm saying? They want you to have big booties and big breasts, but stomachs like yours. See how that works? So it's like you're never going to be good, you know what I'm saying, for the other perfect. Yeah, so just love what you got going on. Because I wear leggings all the time. They're comfortable. Ain't got nothing to do with how my body honestly looks in it. They're comfortable. I walk a lot when I exercise. So, you know what I'm saying? There's something easy for me to pull on. Whereas with I know how to buck the jeans. It's easy to slip some things on. They're comfortable. So why should I have a certain body type to be able, you know what I'm saying, to wear that?
To wear it. You know, and for me, I would not wear it if I didn't have a long shirt to cover it to a certain degree. I would be very self-conscious around the hip area because I didn't have hips. And so if it wasn't like a long t-shirt to cover it, No, I wouldn't wear it. Swimming, forget about it. My teenage years, you would not catch me in a bathing suit. I swim in a shirt and shorts. It took a long time for me to wear a bathing suit, and now I'm kind of back to that. I'm not gonna lie. After having kids, I'm back to I'll jump in with a t-shirt and some shorts.
And I hope there's a lot of big women watching this right now, because we feel like we're the ones who have to wear shirts because we got too much gut or whatever, so it's gonna come out of basil. That's why I don't care. That's why I don't care. When I go on the beach, you know what I'm saying, I'm going in somebody's water, I don't worry about stuff like that, because you will never do anything. You will stop yourself. You know what I'm saying? Those shirts are heavy. They collect water and it weighs you down. You can't really swim the way you want to swim with a t-shirt on.
Can't be a mermaid.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I just feel like, and as you get older, and I feel like we need to teach this to our children, because I got older, having all these insecurities, and end up finding a man who loved nothing more than a fat chick.
See?
I met my king when I was 260 pounds.
And he was loving it.
And he was loving it. You know what I mean? Like, he don't like slim women. That's not his cup of tea. I grew up thinking that, you had to be your size. You know what I'm saying? But I grew up finding out, men like all different varieties. We come in different shapes, sizes, colors. Men like it all, to be quite honest.
It's just their preference at that time.
You know what I'm saying? And we just need we need to educate, you know what I'm saying, allow our children to love the skin that they're in, and you know what I'm saying, and hold that confidence, because honestly, men like confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What really shows.
I get more men attention now with one arm than I ever did, you know what I'm saying, prior to that. And it's specifically because I'm confident in what I do. Don't get me wrong, I jazz up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I clean up nice.
You got to.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying, I walk with confidence wherever I am, and that is the sexiest thing about me to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to tell you little young girls to be sexy, but you know what I'm saying, to love, eat them rolls, whatever it is. And if you don't like something, work on it. You know what I mean? Understanding your body as well. Not everybody is meant to be a certain, you know what I'm saying, to be small. Not everybody is meant to be, you know, be big. If you eat the right way, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I mean, and you live a certain life, your body is going to form into what it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, my mother overfed me as a child, you know, thinking that's what she was supposed to do. So I've been a big girl my whole life, but that might not necessarily be how it's supposed to be. She overfed me, you know what I'm saying, as a child. So
exactly, and I think the key.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the key to that is mainly us loving ourselves. Yeah, I can hear you. The key is to loving yourself. Like, we have to get to that point where the love is put inside of you, because nobody's going to love you more than you love yourself. Like, that's what points to the confidence that you were talking about. We have to peel back those layers, because a lot of things have been put on us from even when we grow up, and we hear things in I want to call it the race consciousness, outside of our consciousness. And it could be even family members. They don't mean to do it, but they'll say things like, for me, I remember hearing things like, why is she so skinny? Or, you know, I come from a Jamaican, so their term would be, you know, why is she so mager? She needs to eat. She needs to put on some weight on her bones. And, you know, you will hear the adults talking. So those things kind of drop little seeds in you as a child. And you already feel self-conscious. You already feel like, okay, I'm not good enough. I don't look this way. I'm not appeasing to even my family members. So a lot of the work needs to be done within. Like, I'm all for peeling back the layers. I say that a lot. Sankofa, go back on my live. I just talked about that for like a whole month of just going back, peeling back the layers. Sankofa is an African word, for those who don't know, that means to look back, retrieve it, and bring it forward. So
that's right.
You actually need to go back and find out what it is. It's some people that do it don't even know. They think that it just means to look back, and it's a little deeper than that. You need to look back and grab it, retrieve what was back there that was done wrong, rewire it, and bring it forward, so that you are moving forward now in this new light. It's about rewiring your mind. We have a lot as adults to rewire, because there's a lot that's been dropped in us from babies to childhood through teenagehood into adulthood, and it doesn't go away overnight. It doesn't go away with when we find I don't know, let's say we may find a scripture in a book, or we find we do a workshop. Sometimes we do a workshop and we think, aha, we got it. But we actually need to do a couple of more workshops and a more self-introspective sittings with self, and constantly. It's a constant thing, a daily thing. And just what I say is, when you go back and you find that ugly, whatever it is, don't be afraid to call it ugly. Call that ugly, catch it, and bring it forward and walk with it until it becomes beautiful, until you beautify that for you. So, that's how I see changing your body. And that's something I'm working on now. Cause like I said, it's like I had highs and lows. I got really good with it. And then after I had my kids, kind of did a little dip again. And then when I went through the narc abuse, that did another number on me. And so I have to re-heal all of that again. So I say that to say it all starts with us. It all starts within you. We have to shine that light from the inside out.
That's a whole fact. Absolutely. And yeah, like you said, you have babies. So I appreciate, that you're doing that work, so your children don't have to, deal with the things that you dealt with. And, that's going to make our generation a whole lot better. I had posted something earlier. A gentleman was talking about, how men are womenizers. And he was saying how that's put into them. We fight each other, men and women back and forth. How we are, and we really don't take the time to understand how this is programmed into us. Like, think about your little boy. Just, you're gonna be a heartbreaker. You know what I'm saying? You cute. How many girlfriends you got? We teach our sons to not be monogamous. We teach them, to be highly sexual. We teach them that that's okay. But then we teach our daughters that you're supposed to be monogamous. You're only supposed to be one person. You're supposed to save yourself for that one person. So that's out of balance when they're supposed to be dealing with these boys that you're teaching not to be monogamous with. So you're starting on
who are we going to be monogamous with?
Right. Like, that is and then so it's like, what do you expect them to do if you're teaching that to them? And we think things are cute when our children are kids, and you can't do that. You're programming them. You should not say that you shouldn't life into your children, but you shouldn't be talking about girlfriends and, boyfriends, or the type of attention that they're going to get from the opposite sex as a child, because they're going to grow up thinking that that's the type of attention that they're supposed to see. This is why I'm, saying
you're already teaching them to look for this attention.
Absolutely. That's why men feel like that double standard is okay. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it is, because that's how they're trained. And then here we are growing up trying to tell y'all, nah, that's not how this works. I got feelings and da-da-da. But they're looking at you like, oh, because this is the way of the world, because this is what they were taught. So that's our fault as parents, you know what I'm saying? Because this is what we're breeding. So we got to be different. You know what I'm saying? If monogamy is what it's supposed to be, then you're supposed to teach both, you know what I'm saying, boys and girls, that monogamy is the way to be. You don't polygamy, because that's simply what it is. You're teaching them to spread themselves out there. You can't teach one party one thing and teach something different and thinking that you're going to have harmony. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do better.
Exactly. And this, when you said that, it reminded me of what jumped in my mind was slave mentality. It is such a reality. We talk about it, but we don't realize that we are still pretty much products of slave mentality, because that kind of comes out of slavery. That's what they did with our slave boys. They used them to be breeders, to just pass them around. And it actually is part of that as well. So this is a thing. And then coming out of slavery, that's what's going to continue to be passed on. Oh, go be this woman. You send your son to have this woman and get with that woman, and you don't even realize the mentality that it's coming from. And now it becomes a thing. Like right now it becomes a thing, and it breeds that double standard, like you said, which growing up, I always had a problem with why boys can do this, but girls can't. And honestly, I would be jealous of boys. I grew up a real tomboy, and I would be mad because why I got to close my legs, but he could sit here and sprawl out, or why I got to wear this, the gender stuff that they put on us, which as I got older, I kind of understand some of it now.
Yeah.
But a lot of it gets pressed on you. It's almost like this oppression that they put on the girls, and I despised it. So I went the opposite way. And I grew up to be a very masculine female. I'm feminine. I look like a female, but I grew up very masculine. So me coming into this divine feminine, this is why I like your name, because I'm coming into this feminine side of me, I would say in like maybe the past 5 years of my life. That I decided, okay, let me try this feminine thing. Let me not fight it, because within us, there is both male and female, just like the Bible say, male and female created he them both. So within us, there is a union that you need to have within yourself. And if anyone's like hearing this and following this, plug this into the love yourself part as well. This is how you love yourself. Find that union within yourself, because there's that divine feminine and masculine in your conscious phase of mind. Your conscious represents the male, your subconscious represents the female, which is the feeling and all of that. So we have to understand these roles, understand these positions. The conscious mind does all the decision making. That's where the ego lies and all of that stuff. And we have to find this balance within ourselves in order to hear clearly from the super conscious mind, which is directly from spirit. I wish I could draw a little, map. Maybe we could do that when we do the panel or something. But there is an actual visual for it.
I can figure that out. I can figure that out. They got all types of to let me share. We're gonna figure it out. Okay. I can share screens and all of that good stuff.
Thank you.
We're gonna figure it out.
The visual, if I can give it to you, is there's in our conscious mind entirely, it's a breakdown of 3 parts, super conscious, conscious, and subconscious. The super conscious is directly linked to spirit. That's where we get our I am and everything directly linked to spirit. And then the conscious mind is the ego, decision making, thinking, analytical, all of that stuff. And that's the conscious phase. That's usually the male, phase of mind. And then there's the subconscious, which really that's what the female side, the feminine side represents, which is the feelings, the memory, and everything like that. The heart. This is why they say out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, because the things get pressed out of your heart, out of your subconscious, and they come out. So there needs to be a balance with your conscious and your subconscious mind. There needs to be a divine marriage, a divine union. This is why I started to understand why they speak so much about marriage, because within you, there needs to be a marriage. And when there's that marriage, when you quiet all the chatter in your mind and you have that divine union, now here you get the free flowing ideas from the super conscious mind, because God never imposes. God is never going to, that's how you hear from the still small voice. And the more balance you have is the more you can hear from that super conscious mind. So this whole divine thing, like, and if we're off balance, which I was, as I said, I was very masculine. I would not submit, and I don't care what the Bible says. I'm not for this. Women must be quiet. But when I learned that this is within me, I learned how my thoughts operate. And I was like, oh, okay. So I need those feelings to not override those feelings in the subconscious mind. It's good. It's an indication, but we can't wallow in our feelings, and we can't let our feelings override our decision making. So when you look at it like that, if you can take that analogy and put that with the Adam and Eve story, you will kind of see why there was this great default and why Eve kind of, stepped out of her place. But that's a whole nother, story. I just wanted to kind of touch base on the whole divine feminine part of it and how I had to kind of come into that and learn that balance. Like, let me learn how to be submissive to myself, within myself, quiet those masculine thoughts that want to react all the time and want to charge through all the time. And speaking of that, in this era right now, in 2020, we're having one of the shifts that we're having is we're shifting from the divine masculine as a mass into the divine feminine. For the past 1,000 years or so, we've been operating under the more masculine type things, the more patriarchal, all as you can see. But now with this shift, what's ushering in now is a divine feminine energy. And the difference is response versus reaction. So reaction is more like when something happens and you just, to give an example, as if you were going through the woods and the divine masculine wants to just chop right through. That's the reaction. And the feminine has the compass. He doesn't ask her for the compass. He just chops right through. Then when they're on the wrong side, he looks and's like, how did we reach here? And she's like, I don't know. I was here this whole time, but you didn't ask me. When you use the divine feminine, before you start chopping away and reacting, you stop and you check that compass. You check in with the divine feminine. Let me check my map. Let me check before I go and chop away. And then you get the right response. Then you know how to respond versus react. And that's the kind of the shift that we're having right now. So
yeah, like how you broke that down, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. I like that analogy about being submissive to yourself, because it's all about balance. And we definitely do have masculine and feminine energy in us. We definitely both have estrogen and testosterone, you know what I'm saying, in us, both male and females. And it needs to be, and the levels just need to be balanced. You know, as women, we have more estrogen. As men, you know, they have more testosterone. So balancing all of that is absolutely important. Everything in your life needs to be in balance. You know, there's a time to hold them. There's a time to fold them. You know what I'm saying? There's a time to react. There's a time not to react. And I know personally for me, that's one of the lessons that I've had to learn, because I'm not overly reactive, but at the same time, I'm very emotional. So when I feel something, I feel it to the upbeat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel it. I have to go through it. You know what I'm saying? I have to get it out. I'm not one of those people that hold things in. But I have it in my mind, this consciousness that, okay, I have to still, you know, be aware. You can't, everything you feel is not always right. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to understand the things that bother you and that makes you react. There's still something within you that you have a problem with. That you need. And that's a hard lesson for people to learn. We think that other people make us upset. We think that other people do things to us, but in fact, there's something inside of us. It's almost like a trigger.
It is.
That you triggered something in you, and that's why it bothers you. And that was your universe teaching you that lesson. All right, what is it about this person or this thing or what was said that bothers me? So now I need to work on that.
Yep. Because life is a reflection of you. Exactly. So I always used to say that life, I used to teach that when I taught my kids that I had to teach Sunday school, and I would always say that to them. Sometimes they knew that would be the answer. Like, Miss, what about this? And I'd be like, life is a reflection of you. So you got to look at it and see when it's coming at you. And when we in the moment, we don't want to see it. It's hard to see it. The way I always explain it, easiest way, is because it's a magnifying glass. When we see it on the outside, we see it 10 times greater. So it's hard for us to connect it to ourselves. And I had to work this myself to see it. Like when the lady told me this, I walked out of church. It was in a church. And I was like, I don't like this lesson. No, she's not going to tell me that. I know that there's something about my friend that I don't like. And I know that's her. That has nothing to do with me. But Spirit sat me down and was like, just listen. So I was like, okay. And the more I listened, the more I actually did the work sitting right there mentally. She was like, take the magnifying glass off of the person. Think about that very thing that you don't like about them. Say that very thing out loud if you have to. And then think about how you are like that, but not take it down a notch. Take the magnifying glass off. Don't look at it magnified. And look at how you are in some way like that. And honestly, it was a friend that I had that I saw laziness. What bothered me about her was just ultimate laziness. And I knew that I wasn't that kind of lazy, because pretty much the way she would leave her house. And I'm like, man, this is annoying. I would never leave my house like this. But I took off the magnifying glass, and I was like, oh, I am lazy, but I'm lazy in this kind of way. So it annoyed me so much in her. This is why we have to pay attention. What's really annoying you about that person? It annoyed me so much in her because it was inside of me, and it's something I don't like even for myself. But I couldn't see the lazy inside of me because it wasn't magnified.
Makes sense. That makes 1,000 sense. Well, you are well on your journey to elevation, because it's all honestly about checking yourself.
Yes.
people don't want to do that. You know, that's
No.
the hardest thing for folks to do is to really look at themselves, you know what I mean, and see how what part they played and what they can change in themselves to make the situation better. And that's going to turn into our NARC conversation.
NARC, there we go. Before we go, is the lighting good? Do you want me to turn on the light?
That's up to you, Dollface, because it is getting darker. So
Can you still see me?
so yeah, you should put on the light so it can be a little so we can see you more better.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll organize some light here.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes, ma'am. We see.
Okay.
All right. So from your perspective, what is a narcissist? You know what I'm saying? How do you know that? You know what I'm saying? Because you call yourself a survivor. Why do you call yourself a survivor?
A NARC survivor because I survived some serious turmoil within this past year, right before COVID and everything. It was the end of last year. I was with this person for the past 5 years. Right when I was on the beginning of my divine feminine journey, I ran into this person, decided to exercise my feminine, subtle stuff with this person while I'm working on it with myself. So at the end of almost the 5 years, which was the end of last year, I had just had my last baby and we were just going through it. I realized something happened where I realized the mask. I didn't know it was a mask yet. I didn't know that much yet. I saw that there was an illusion that we were living, and I called it out, and I was like, so we were living in this illusion the whole time. And I remember looking at him and seeing it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you could see these thoughts chasing in his mind. And I was like, okay, something is really up. And from I pinpointed it, I went through this spell for the last 2 months, with December being the worst. I've never been devalued on that level. And I couldn't understand why. I'm like, what happened? Because he used to treat me so well, like a queen, but he was just being very, I want to say, disrespectful to my feelings, and knowing that I just had the baby and postpartum and all of this. So at the end of that, he left. And it wasn't until he left that I realized I was dealing with a narcissist. I was sleeping and woke up to one of those channels. I wish I wrote down the guy's name, but I remember it was a white guy, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It would wake me up every morning. Like it was just coming to me. I don't know if my spirit guides was bringing me these answers, because I was left discombobulated and confused. When he finally left, we had an altercation and he left. So it would come on and it would say all these things about NPD and narcissists and all these different signs. And then you would read different people that went through it. And it feels like we're all dating the same person. That's how uncanny. They're very predictable, all narcissists. And if you look at it, it's almost like you're literally dating the same person. They go through these phases where they devalue you and then discard you. You are a supply for them on many different levels. People think that, oh, you must be weak, or they prey on the weak. They don't always prey on the weak, especially a covert narcissist. They're actually looking for what they call grade A supply. They have different supplies, grade A, grade B, grade C. Grade A supply is when you are actually strong, and they want that light and that energy, which is pretty much where I was. I realized I was like, oh, I was grade A, because I knew I had worked through so many things, and I wasn't at that level where I was self-conscious and all of that anymore. I was on my journey. So he got me at grade A, and he was taking all of that energy. But once it started to flip, where this is where I learned when their masks fall off, because they wear different masks. And when you discover that you're in an illusion with them, especially when you bring it to them, I realized that that's exposing them. I didn't know I was exposing him. So the trigger to his behavior of devaluing me was the fact that I brought that to light. So with that said, I learned that there were a lot of people that was going through it. It wasn't just me. If anyone else here has been through it, check one of these channels out, because you're not alone. There's so many NARC survivor channels out there. Like, find one, a good community, and learn more about yourself while learning about them. I would suggest don't get fixated on them. Meaning, don't try to seek revenge and all. Like, I had to kind of put that stuff out of my head, because you're going to end up down a rabbit hole, and it doesn't really help you. The best thing to do spiritually, I always go to spirit, is to go and do your soul work, do your inner childhood wounds, because you're wounded. There's childhood trauma for you and the narcissist. The reason why they became a narcissist is because they have inner childhood trauma as well. And so we have to kind of look at it in a spiritual light and realize how maybe this is a karmic relationship and it's there to bring you out of something as well, and not look at it so like a personal attack, because it really does feel like a personal attack. I get it. You wonder why this person turned on you, while they're devaluing you, while they're treating you the way they did, and then they discard you. Usually when they discard you, it's because they have found something else. They're moving on to something else, and you are a liability to their mask falling off. You're a liability to the identity that they're trying to uphold. So now you become the target. So it's just so much you can learn about them. But I call myself a narc survivor because as tough as it was with just having a baby, I have 4 girls, and it was hard, and COVID hit right after it. So yeah, I had to do my self-healing pretty much for this whole year, from I would say January, February. I didn't really come out of it till maybe around April. I started to kind of see some light. And I think COVID kind of thrust me into it, because I realized I was, as a light worker, that's another thing I noticed. I am one of the light workers, as you are, Queen. You're a light worker.
I am.
A lot of light workers too, I realized, was getting this hit right before COVID, like about 2 months or a couple months before COVID. We all kind of got this major hit, whether it be relational, financial, or something kind of hit us and threw us off a little bit. But what I realized is it was for such a time as this, meaning to prepare us to be the light workers that were needed during this whole COVID thing, because now a lot of light workers are needed. So
that is very true. I can definitely contest to that. I definitely went through some things prior to the situation, and yeah, I've been doing amazing things ever since. So that you are correct about. So when you say you've been doing you've been doing work, you know what I'm saying, to elevate yourself, what exactly does that mean? What have you been doing?
Well, for me, as you can see, I've always been introspective. I've always been willing to look within. So for me, it's a little bit easier on that side, because whereas a lot of people, it's hard sometimes to look within. So that kind of gave me a ledge up. But beyond that, because I was really down, I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want to see forgiveness, anything. But I knew forgiveness had to be there. I was like, I know it's up there, but I'm not there yet. I was really down. So I think the first thing I started in April, what brought me out, was gardening. Gardening has a lot to do with grounding, which is with your root chakra, which I found out I need a lot of work in my root chakra area. I'm good with my upper chakras, but my lower chakras, I have to do some work. So I ended up grounding. I started planting with the kids. And as I'm grounding, I'm very metaphysical. So I started to see some things while I'm digging up the dirt. And it was just like, every step I go, it's like, I don't know if you want to say spirit was talking to me in that moment, but that's what I would hear. You got to stay grounded and rooted in love and compassion. And I was like, okay, this is while I'm digging up the dirt, and I'm just taking in the messages as they're coming to me. And then the next thing was I'm digging up the soil, and the kids and students always kind of motivate me. If people ask me questions while I'm doing my thinking, it actually brings more out of me. So while the kids were asking me, why are we digging this dirt? And then I remember a lesson that I was teaching where the garden is like the mind and the soil is like your feelings. That's your subconscious, and the seeds are your thoughts. So I'm telling them, we got to till the soil. We got to loosen it up, because that's your feelings. I realized that is your feelings. It's stuck. You can't have it stuck. So you got to till the dirt. You got to loosen up those feelings that may want to be tight and bound. And that spoke to me. I was like, okay, I'm speaking to myself here. I got to loosen these feelings up. I got to get that dirt dug up, because that's my subconscious, and I need my soil to be good so that any seeds I plant in there, they will grow. And then you got to water it. And I tell them that after we do it, because they're like, why we can't just water it? And I was like, no, you got to pull the weeds up first. It's a process. The weeds are like negative thoughts in your mind. You have to pull those weeds up out of the dirt And then once you pull it out, now you got to till the dirt. You got to turn that soil, turn your feelings, mix it up. And then you water whatever you planted, meaning now you got to give nutrients, water, those good thoughts that you want to see grow. So in, that little breakdown, that's how I saw a little light, a little leeway, like, okay, God, I see it. You want me to, and when I say God, I mean great order of divinity, because we spoke before on this, Queen, but I'm not really a religionist per se. I'm very spiritual, and I believe in this great order. So universe, you say, universe was speaking to me, and I started to come up out of it from there, and forgiveness started to come. Because do you know, let me give you the aha at the end of this light. That narc, which I don't even want to call him a narc right now, because the forgiveness has sat in. He has had his retribution come back to him. He had a break, and he had to work on himself. So now we're in a good place, actually, where I'm actually I want to say I'm actually a lighthouse, kind of, in helping him to come out of that dark place and out of the shadows. Like it actually, and I know this doesn't happen for everybody, but this is what I call very rare. I've even said it to him. This is very rare, but we've done like a whole, what do you call it, 180? So from abandoning me and the children and leaving me in that state with nothing, no money, no nothing, to now returning around summertime, which is around like June, after I did my healing. Oh, that was another thing that helped. Detox. I did a detox in June. I did it with a group of women.
Okay.
With a sisterhood bond, and we did a actual detox, spiritual affirmations, and that actually strengthened me. I call it my rebirth, and I felt like I was born again. And at the end of that, he came back around, and I was like, boy, God, you know what you do, because I was ready to go on my chakra mission, my chakra workshop, and then that came up, and I ended up being this light towards helping him come out of his trauma and what he's, because as I said, narcs have their own trauma. They just don't know it, and they're not willing to admit it.
Absolutely. Well, you just gave me some great inspiration, because you are a perfect example. It's because, we always, again, I know people are who they are, and, it's sometimes foul what people do, but everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
No one is born a narcissist.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? We're not born these things. This is learned behavior. So that just goes to show you just how amazing you are, that you can come up out of that fixed self and then go and help him. Now, understanding that he is the father of your children, which makes sense because they are the other half of him. And exactly. If he's not right, they not right. So
that's how I looked at it.
That is dope of you to even want to do that, because most women are like, regardless if they're a narc or not, you know what I'm saying? If the relationship don't work, I don't want to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? Just take care of your kids, and that's it. We don't really go into trying to, help that other person, because you attracted that person.
Mm-hmm.
Saying enough for y'all to make children together.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So now with y'all having these babies, that affects your children. So them being the best them is what's best for your kids, and don't even have to be about you.
Exactly.
A lot of us can't bring ourselves out of that. And when you talked about detoxing is extremely important, and not even just for, your health.
Mm-hmm.
People don't understand, when you are in a relationship, that's a soul, tie. That's a spiritual tie. When you are sleeping and exchanging DNA with another human being, over years and over time. People really, and this is why you go into another relationship and you still have those same problems, because you're bringing that energy of that other individual into your next relationship. That's why being single in between that is so important. But we have this culture where you want to get up over one man, you get up under another one. That's what we're taught. This is what we're taught. And that's not the way to do that. This is how you have a bunch of women, you got mad energy in you, because you bouncing from dude to dude. Every time a man breaks your heart, you bouncing to another one, and you're not
cleansing nothing,
that energy from you. So that's why you keep attracting the same type of man. And you talk about, it's just, niggas ain't shit, or, you know what I'm saying? Bitches is hoes and da 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 da. But nah, you keep type of people. So what is inside going on with you that they keep showing up? So detoxing is so important. You know what I'm saying? When you're transitioning, especially in relationships. Ladies, gentlemen, please.
Detox.
Okay?
I never did it before, but it was good.
Until you are completely over that situation and that other person. Bringing that, you know, that energy, and you can't blame them. You got to blame yourself.
Yep. It's about accountability. Accountability.
We will have less, you know what I'm saying? We would have, not to say that everybody's supposed to stay together, you know, people come into your life for a reason. Some are temporary, you know what I'm saying? Some are forever, but you know, we still need to learn how to, okay, we're in each other's lives for this reason. Now go in love.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this, you know, unharmonious and fighting and negative thing. We serve this purpose. You know what I'm saying? Now love and light over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? We need to be able to, you know, still be cool. Like when you break up, it shouldn't just be the end all of be all. I hate you now because we didn't work romantically.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that is very impressive, you know what I'm saying, to me. And that is awesome. And I hope, you know, anybody that's watching could take notes with that, because that is still the father of your children and he does need help. You know what I'm saying? And he learned from somewhere. You know what I mean? Someone needs to take responsibility, you know what I'm saying, to help him. That's going to be for your children, you know? Like, that's super dope. So, you know, absolutely.
Thank you. And as long as what I want to say out to if anyone has been going through it, don't overextend yourself. Trust and believe I had to do this in wisdom, because if he wasn't where he was, I would not be able to help him. And I was not going to overextend myself. So do the work within and make sure you listen to that guiding light within, because you can't just jump in and help someone who's not ready to help himself. You can't put on that cape and then say, all right, I'm going to help you because, you know, I know that you're a narc and you need some love and you got childhood trauma, and they're not ready for that. You actually going to do more damage to yourself. And because if they're not ready, you're still a threat to them and they will retaliate. You are the enemy in that mind state. So we have to be very wary of that. Do your research on NPD and be clear if any woman out there is, or man or woman, because it comes both ways. Another thing that helped me is staying no contact. That was one thing that I would wake up to that guy every morning saying, no contact, because they can continue to bring you down and they'll try to send what they call flying monkeys, people that you guys both know around you to get information. Don't fall for that. You have to stay really firm with no contact in order for you to heal. And if you decide to be in a position, if there is an opportunity where you can help, do your internal work and make sure that that person is ready. Don't fall for the sign, because they will fool you. They will put on a sheep suit and they will put on a new mask and they will pretend. So you really have to do your work and make sure you're strong enough to know, to have the insight, which is what the detox does. I'm glad when you mentioned that. It's more than just food. The detox and fasting has a lot to do with your third eye, which is your insight, and you need that. So if you can, you know, do a detox, do a fasting, and make sure if that person come back in your life, just be like, hold on, give me a week, give me a minute, you know, do a quick fast and detox and really go within so that you can be sharp enough to know if this person is putting on a sheep suit, or is this really something that they are bursting through. And a key note to notice that is they have to be broken. If that narc is not broken, meaning he had to have a mental snap within himself. If it's not broken, he's not really trying to do the work. He or she is not really trying to do the work. That's my best advice.
Okay, well, somebody made a comment on YouTube that says, Akeelah, wonderful analogy. They paint such a clear picture of the information you are providing.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Glad to be able to. If you want, you can follow me on Facebook Live. I haven't got my YouTube up yet. I have an old YouTube called Divine Energy, and I'm going to revamp it. It's still going to be Divine Energy. But if you go to it now, it's just dancing videos, because I had a dance studio with some kids. So that's what you'll see now. But I have to revamp it. So I would, if you want to see anything that I'm talking about, I do my Facebook Live, because that was part of coming out of my detox. I started to speak up. I was always vocal, but I had lost a lot of my throat. I had to do my throat chakra work and really come back to myself. And after the detox, by the end of June, I just started going on and saying, let me just do my Facebook Live, and whoever I can reach, whoever I can help. I know I have a gift of illustrating things well and bridging the gap, for others, making it very visible visually. So if you're interested, you can follow me on my Facebook, Kesi Williams, on Facebook, Kesi Williams.
All right, let's see. We're going to
there you go. On Facebook. That's where I am now, but I'll be spreading my wings.
There you go. There you go.
Yes. And another thing I believe we talked about.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Queen.
No, I just appreciate, you talking about this and expressing yourself, because, a lot of people don't like putting themselves out on Front Street. They don't like telling their business. They're embarrassed, about certain things, but people don't understand, you're not the only one going through the things that we're going through. We have this thing in our minds that no one understands us, and we don't know, no one knows, but that's not true. There's nothing new under Ra or under the sun.
Under the sun, right?
We all go through, I might not go through the same particular thing, but we all go through things, and we also have empathy for that. You know what I mean? So we need to get that out of our minds. I feel like sometimes that's almost even a crutch to allow us to continue to take the abuse, because nobody knows or understands where I'm coming from, and that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Someone who does, and you have to love yourself enough not to deal with that. Like I said, with my example, I've never been in a relationship with somebody else, but I can't go as far as say that individual's a narc. I can't say, saying that far. I think this individual just has an ego problem or a confidence problem in certain areas and don't know how to deal with it. And sometimes people think that I am a good target to dump, their shit on and to be extra, and thinking that I'm going to have empathy for that and allow them to get away with it.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I've had to deal with throughout life. And, you got to check for, because I do have empathy. I do overstand.
You are, because you're an empath. You being a light worker, you are an empath. So that kind of attracts, I am too. So it attracts certain people, and then they think that they play on your empathy. So we have to be firm. You're what I call an assertive empath, which I had to learn to be. I wasn't always this assertive. Now I'm very careful with my energy and my space, and who comes to my home and inside, and I sage, like you said, I'm a natural sage too. So some people will just reflect and be like, okay, you're not supposed to be here. But I also sage out, sage the house. If anybody doesn't know, sage and clean that energy out every once a month, every full moon, if you have to. There you go. Get it out.
Burn it out. Here, go to Namaste, Namaroll.square.site and get your smudge split. You know what I'm saying?
Smudge it out.
Tap it. I got it.
Smudge it out. Every either full moon or new moon. I'm cleaning. I'm doing my detox, and also clearing out my house as well. I'm gonna do a chakra workshop, and I'll let you know, Queen, when I do. I'm putting it together now, so I will be able to have that available. Anybody wants to join the ride with me? It'll be pretty much a 7-day check-in that we do, and we're gonna do a chakra each day. From the root up.
Okay.
So that's something I'll be working on. Because that has a lot to do. That's why I say I'm really about divine energy. If a lot of this childhood trauma, if we do our chakra work, it really will help us get in touch with what these traumas are to us. It will help you understand. A lot of us, if we have a root issues, it's because the root is basic needs. And if your basic needs weren't met, your root chakra is out of alignment. Food, water, even emotional insecurities. If you suffer certain insecurities, that's your root chakra. Like you can see right behind me, that root and that sacral, the two bottom ones, they kind of both have to do with insecurities. The sacral is more to do with like emotions and even sexual energy. The sacral has a lot to do with that and creativity. So I'll be able to go through these chakras, and there's foods. There are certain foods to eat to align yourself with these chakras as well. Foods, colors, these things help activate the chakras, if you will, and along with you doing your internal work on these chakras. So I'll be offering that too.
All right. Well, it sounds like I'm gonna have to get you and Divine Chakras. You know what I'm saying?
Together, right?
Situation before because she's one of the panelists.
Yeah.
So I might have to get y'all on here together before that, so y'all can, you know, have that chakras and have it out.
Yes, I peep that.
Now, as a in Kemetic sciences and African spirituality, we call chakras. The real name for chakras is Wajatet.
Oh, I like that.
The original name.
You gotta spell that for me, Queen.
Let's see if let's see if I can put it in the ticker.
Mm-hmm.
I still think this is so cool. Y'all gonna excuse this is the unprofessional.
I can see it on your face. You're like, ooh, this is good. Let me show y'all what I can do.
Why jet tet.
Mm-hmm. Yep, spell it out for me. I gotta write it down. Let me get my writing utensils.
And any of my lighthouse people, if I spelled it wrong, let me know. Check me. But I believe this is how Wajatet.
Oh, okay. Wajatet.
Yes.
And that's the Kemet word for it?
That is the Kemetic word for chakras, yes.
Yes. I'm right with you. That's why I was vibing you and Divine chakras, because I'm into my chakras and I'm also into the Kemetic energy as well, and learning about my African roots, which I grew up in a Rasta household, so I was always already connected to the African roots as well. And in that African roots, I've been, you know, looking at my melanin, embracing my melanin, and I believe we talked about it, Queen, too. The gods, that yours was Ori. What was yours again? The goddess, and mine was Oshun.
Oh yes, Oya.
Oya, the thunder god, right?
The gods, yes.
Yeah.
I'm studying them because I did my DNA. I got it tested. I'm waiting for my other one from Ancestry. I did 23andMe already. So yeah, I'm trying to find out who I truly am. It's levels to finding out who you are. You know what I mean? Knowing where your bloodline comes from, where, you know what I'm saying?
What tribe?
All your tribes. So I want to tap into all of that. Every spirituality that my ancestors, you know what I'm saying, dealt with. I want to study that, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, use all of that because it's all energy. That's how I see that. You know what I'm saying? It was all an energy, and we all give different names. Each era, you know what I'm saying? Each generation had their own way of expressing the same energy. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like we need to know our own, because there's our, I mean, people look at it like, I noticed growing up, they would look at it more like voodoo when you talk about the African gods, but yet you would talk about Greek mythology and Zeus and all of this, and they had their goddess of water and goddess of air and all of this. But if we talk about, this is how much we were taught to hate our own selves. If we talk about it, it's what you're doing, talking about this voodoo stuff, or it's our real culture. We have our own gods and goddesses as well, and it's all energy. It's energy. It's not connected to your cultural energy.
Absolutely, exactly. And people don't see it that way. They look at it as, you know, you're believing in more than one God, and these deities were just concepts. They weren't actual people. They were representations of concepts, you know what I'm saying? The laws of how you're supposed to live, you know what I'm saying? How you're supposed to do things. So because we wrote on the walls, we gave you visuals, you know what I'm saying, of, you know, those concepts. So, but of course, you know, when the colonizers came in and did their thing, they didn't understand that, and they just pretty much just warped history.
Yeah, took it as their own, and we have to see that.
Like you said earlier, we got to go back. We got to go back. We got to it, and we got to bring it all back. You know what I'm saying? That's Sankofa, absolutely. Well, since let everyone know where else so they can find any other information that they can that you can give them at the moment, because we got business to take care of.
So like I said, you can find me on Facebook for right now, Divine Energy. If you want to go to the YouTube, I have to revamp it, but I have a YouTube page called Divine Energy. I also sell honey. I didn't get to say that, but natural honey straight from the bees. So you can hit me up on Facebook and, DM me and let me know, because that's also good for fortifying your body. Something else we could talk about at a later time, but natural honey from the bees is good at fortifying your body. Have some honey with some cinnamon and, ginger. But I do have that for sale. So if you're interested in that as well, find me on Facebook.
I'm interested. I brush my teeth with bee pollen.
See, there you go. See,
bee pollen. So I'm on it. Well,
let
I
me know.
appreciate you so
Love
much.
Thank you,
Lovely. And yeah, so you guys, y'all know what this is about. Be inspired. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what a digital business card is. You got to go to tifiscorner.square.site and get all your natural body care products. Make sure Plump Queen as the code to get you 10% off. If you want that digital business card, just go down in the link and get you one. It is dope. It's all over the place. You can turn it into a sticker. You can put it on a shirt. You know what I'm saying? And your business can be worldwide or international without you even being there. Okay. And also, if you need some herbs to get your immune system popping, if you got eye problems, diabetes, you know what I'm saying? Anything you got going on, you know what I'm saying? You need to holler at Quantum R&D, because we got something for you to help your body heal itself.
Naturally.
That's what we got going on. And y'all know that I be dream tripping. Y'all know I be all over the place. I go on one major trip every year. If you're trying to come with me, holla at me. All right. I got you, girl. We about to be international.
We about to do this.
Let's go. We in it. So I love y'all. Appreciate your time and energy. And you'll be seeing more of Akeelah Speaks on the Pumpkin Podcast.
Love and light.
Fire, love and lights. And we out of here. Bye.
Beautiful.